What is going on YouTube? It's Triple M back with another video. I hope you are doing well. It is transfer talk this afternoon before we look ahead to the West Brom game. The preview will be up tomorrow, so look out for that. The boys will be onto that, and I will do my own preview on Friday, just before the game. So, well, actually a day before the game. So yeah, do hit the like on the video and do not forget to subscribe if you are new. But let's get into it. Transfer talk. Manchester United. So of course, then Manchester United have been linked with the Portuguese defender who plays for Braga. I don't know how to pronounce the team's name. They're in the Portuguese league at the moment. They're second on the table. It's David Carmo. And this looks like an interesting player. I've seen his face before. I'm not going to pretend like I've actually watched him, but the internet is a thing, and so are scouting reports. So we're going to delve into what I think of this player and some of the interesting reports around him. Supposedly he broke into their first team 10 months ago and has become a crucial and integral part of their team, right? And he's been linked to teams like Fiorentina and Roma from the Serie A. Apparently they've been keeping their eyes from him on a while, and actually he seems to be quite a wanted commodity. So if Manchester United were to go in for this player, we wouldn't be the only club. So that red flag immediately. When does Manchester United ever win a transfer race when there's more than one club? Red flag immediately. We lost out on Gabriel Magalhaes because we were too slow and we were too busy fucking messing around with bloody Sancho, you know? So it's unfortunate. Apparently he's not going to go for cheap. The 21-year-old Portuguese prospect is obviously a very crucial part of the team, and they wouldn't be willing to let him go that quickly. I believe his contract is quite long. It expires in 2025. So yeah, judging by reports, 27 million euros is where we're going to try and have to go for him. Teams like Barcelona have even been linked to this guy. So now some things to note about Carmo, David Carmo. First of all, he's very, very tall. He's 6'5", you know. He's a very tall defender. He's won European trophies with the under-20 side and the under-18 side for Portugal, and is expected to break through into the national team. So not only are there big clubs in Europe looking out for this guy, such as Barcelona, such as Roma, such as Fiorentina, and many others, there is also a chance that he will break into the senior Portuguese national team, which is massive. The fact that he's won European titles with even the youth setups, a lot of people overlook that, but he is a winner. Now, does that mean he's a great defender? Of course not. You cannot judge a player by the team trophies they have won, because of course that is a team effort. But he was a part of those teams nevertheless, and I think it is a very positive thing to bear in mind with this signing. So yeah, he's won 80% of his 81%, sorry, of his aerial duels in the previous season, which is interesting because I think we already had that in Harry Maguire. So to be looking at another aerially dominant centre back is interesting. There's not much to draw of this current season. He's only played 5 games, but his long balls, 63% succession rate, his passes, 84% succession rate. That already tells you that he can play out from the back, so he would be a better version of Harry Maguire in that sense, and a better version of Victor Lindelof. Now, I'm not going to lie, as far as this player goes, there isn't really much out there in terms of his actual technical ability and his actual attributes, but judging by these very vague scouting reports, he does seem like a very steady defender. He does seem like a very reliable defender. And I'm honestly excited for the prospect of this deal. Now, do I think it will happen? I don't know. Let's see, because there's a lot of clubs in Europe that would be willing to pay for this. Now, Barcelona got mentioned in this, right? And maybe I should do a completely different video for this entirely. But Barcelona at the moment are going through a massive, massive rebuild and a massive cultural change, and also a massive structural change in terms of their finances. So I don't think Barcelona want to get into bidding wars for players they don't necessarily need. Barcelona have also been linked to players like Mustafi, which is crazy. But yeah, that's a video for another day. So I'm not too worried about Barcelona and their bidding wars, but it's the other teams. It's the other teams that I'm worried about. And also this young man is probably going to look out for the best interest of his career. And as I've always said, unless we get Champions League football and unless we're competing, I don't see why a player would want to come to Manchester United if they had a better option on the table. And a better option doesn't have to be a more dazzling name or a more dazzling club. It can be a club that has European football and that has the right setup, the right coaching staff, the right playing style to get the best out of said player, and also a team that is just the right fit. Look at Erling Haaland going to Dortmund. Now, Dortmund's obviously not a bigger club than Manchester United. Dortmund's not a club that wins major trophies over long periods of time. So really, Dortmund is, in terms of trophies, the same as us at the moment. They don't really win anything. Dortmund, but the difference between them and us is Dortmund are a selling club. You know, they don't seem to be ambitious about building for the future. I mean, some people are saying that they are this time, but my point is, Erling Haaland went to a team like Dortmund so that he can play there, get some experience, grow his credibility, grow his value in the market, and then move to a big club where he can actually win things. And obviously his agent fees will be much higher, and so will his wages. If he had moved to Manchester United now, the potential for him to grow and the potential for him to leave for a bigger fee later on would have been much less. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't even know why I went down this tangent. But basically, I think David Carmo is a smart footballer. Oh, and one last thing about David Carmo on the scout report. He isn't afraid of a tackle. I don't know what that means. I swear the scout report on Hassan Çalhanoğlu that I read 2 or 3 weeks ago was far more detailed than this one. This one has really let me down, boys. I'm not going to lie. But anyways, nevertheless, he is a very aggressive player. He is very sure in himself. He seems to be, I mean, that could be seen as leadership, to be honest, but I'm not going to go down that road. He seems to be a very aggressive defender. Aggressive, not like Eric Bailly aggressive, but aggressive as in I'm not afraid to make it. As at the moment with Lindelof and Maguire, we have very timid, shy, you know, not really going in for the tackle until the very last second type of thing, type of vibes, fam. You know them right there. So we probably need someone like a David Carmo. Not too sure how exactly he will fit in, but again, I'm excited for the prospects of signing. Let's move on. Now, the other big transfer rumor surrounding Manchester United, and it's not really a rumor, we can almost call it a fact, really, is the fact that Manchester United is still in for Jadon Sancho as well as Ousmane Dembele. Well, the Jadon Sancho one, bit of a rumor, but the Ousmane Dembele one, would say is a bit more of a fact because it is well known. Fabrizio Romano tweeted about it, and he's as credible as they get, fam. You know them right there. Fabrizio Romano tweeted about it on the last day of the transfer window last summer, reportedly that we were in for Ousmane Dembele, but we wanted him on loan. Barcelona did not want to loan him. Barcelona wanted to get rid of him long term. The young Frenchman has had his whole host of issues, which we can have a 25-minute video talking about why Ousmane Dembele is a bad signing. But some people seem to think he might be a good signing, and some people seem to think that his injury problems are not down to the developmental issues and him playing too much football at a young age. Some people seem to think that it comes down to the training at Barcelona, the training regime being too intense on the players, and so therefore nobody's kind of holding the shoulder around Ousmane Dembele and giving him his own special treatment. Because usually, if you don't know, some clubs in Europe have different training regimes for different portions of their squad, and some players will get preferential, but they'll get training, basically isolated training, to make sure that they stay in shape and they're not being pushed too hard. I really don't know if there's any evidence to back that up. I really don't, because how do you even start with this? Because some people seem to think, okay, Barcelona's training regime is too intense, right? And therefore, it's leading to all these injuries with Ousmane Dembele, because he wasn't as injury prone when he was at Dortmund, right? Well, genius. What club do you support? Manchester United. And what are Manchester United famous for? Not having the best medical staff and not having the best training regimes. So for all the people who argue that it might be Barcelona's fault, and I'm not denying that, Barcelona have had a very interesting injury record, to say the least. There have been a lot of players who go to the Spanish league and play for Barcelona specifically, who then suddenly have injury problems and then go elsewhere and flourish. But it doesn't necessarily mean that in this particular case that is the same thing. And also, if that is the case, what makes people think that Manchester United is going to look after Ousmane Dembele? Like, straight up, real talk. Look at what happens with Luke Shaw in injuries. Look at what happens with Eric Bailly in injuries. Look at what happens with Marcus Rojo in injuries. Phil Jones got injured whilst training to get back into the first team. He didn't even get to training. He was training to get himself back up to fitness, and he got injured. It's mad, fam. It's mad. Look at what happens with Marcus Rashford every season. Okay, Marcus Rashford's not really a training thing, but he had a stress fracture last season, and he took a bit of a knock this season as well. Look at what happens with Anthony Martial every season. Look at what happens with Paul Pogba every season. Paul Pogba played with a knock last year under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then he was out for about 6 months. And if it wasn't for COVID, and if it wasn't for lockdown, I don't think Paul Pogba would have made it back into the Manchester United team in time to actually have a significant impact. So, you know, all the people saying Ousmane Dembele is suddenly going to be okay when he comes to the Premier League, and the Premier League's not as physical as people make it out to be. Well, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Because the Premier League is one of the fastest paced leagues in the world. Yes, it might not be physical in terms of actual contact, player contact, but it is physical in terms of the demands on the player's body. Like, it is the most fast paced league in the world. And yes, it's slowed down since lockdown, but every league is slowed down. It doesn't change the fact that it is the most fast paced league and it is one of the most intense and competitive leagues in the world. And you have to be in peak condition to compete. Um, the fact that I need to explain that to people who think Dembele is going to come here and his injury record is going to be vanished, poof, taken away by the magic fairy or whatever. I don't get it. But anyways, I'm interested to hear some of your thoughts in the comments down below. And I don't know what else to say. So interesting to see if Manchester United does this. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. I hope we do not go near Dembele, by the way, because the David Carmo one does excite me. Now, there are some other transfer rumors, such as Jadon Sancho, such as Moussa Dembele from Olympique Lyon, and the likes of David Alaba. But I didn't really think those were worth covering in this particular video because it would have been too long, number one. And number two, I think they're very unrealistic. I think the Jadon Sancho deal has completely fallen apart and he's not coming to Manchester United, in my personal opinion. If something big breaks in the future, we will cover it on the channel, of course. Moussa Dembele, I haven't really heard any credible people come out in a long while and talk about that deal, so it is what it is. And I don't know much about him as a player, so yeah, will be interesting to read a scout report on him. And as for David Alaba, not a chance, not a chance. Why would David Alaba come to Manchester United? But anyways, enjoy the rest of your day/evening, and it's been your boy Triple M. I'll check you.